obviously, as I said, everyone knows Lloyd Webber production. Is there room in the world for this too? And if so, why? What is it that appealed to you about this particular show?
It's a funny thing because for a lot of people who maybe don't know the history of the show, this predates the other one. It was written a few years before the other one, and some producers had actually approached Moriarty and Arthur Koppel saying, here's this novel we've been reading, we think it would make a fantastic stage musical. And they read the novel and they were both kind of like, I don't know if you can put that on stage. But then they decided to approach it from a different angle, because if you are familiar with the novel or you've seen the 1925 silent film, the Phantom, Eric, is seen as this kind of decrepit monster who does live beneath the opera house and haunt it accordingly. And they decided to approach it from a more human angle, give him a bit of a background. We've got in Act 2, we've got a number called The Story of Eric, where we actually hear about the proper origins of the Phantom. And it's the kind of thing where once they approached it from a more human angle, they were able to then tell a different story.
This is a score that was written for singers, actors, and for an orchestra. I mean, we're not going to have an orchestra, but I'm very confident that we're going to have a gorgeous sound from what we have. And Aaron has done all of the arrangements himself. And I can't wait to get that.
I know, the Six Probe is always my favourite part, once the orchestra comes in and everyone sings together.
Because that score is so...
It's lush, it's lush. It's gorgeous.
And how's it been then? I mean, you say early rehearsals, but how's it been actually in the space, in Rose and Crown, getting ready for it all?
It doesn't feel like a pub theatre. I was just saying this earlier, it feels like a much bigger space to work in. Yeah.
Karen, I know that you were in Love Never Dies, which is the sequel to the Lloyd Webber Phantom of the Opera. What was that like, and how is it differing doing this show, having two phantoms in your head?
First of all, it was probably one of my favourite jobs I've ever done. I know the show got a lot of stick for various reasons. If you can forgive the slightly ridiculous storyline, I personally think it's one of his best shows that he's ever written. I think the music far surpasses anything he's ever written before, and I care about it very deeply, so I'm really chuffed that we get to do it.
Are there any scenes or songs that caught your imagination originally, or that in the process of rehearsing that really stood out as moments that give you those chills that make you realise that something is working?
Actually, it's funnily enough, there was a moment before we even got into rehearsals, Home, which the Phantom and Christine sing together but not to each other, and just this idea that the minute that Christine is in the world of the opera house and that she's home, that this is the place that we're using a lot of the novel in terms of backstory for the character, that the minute she gets to the opera house, her life is complete, and every place that she's been around the world and every place that she's traveled up until that point has never really felt like home, but in that moment it's there. And I think for me, that's a huge thing, because I'm one of those people where, like many creatives, I've always had to have a day job to support myself. I've always had to work, but the place that I feel like home is being in a rehearsal room with actors. So there was a point during our callbacks, actually, when Kira was singing it, and I just had absolute chills, and the hair on my arms just stood up, because it was like, actually, okay, me being behind this desk right now, watching you do that, this solidifies everything for me. And now every time they sing the song, I'm brought back to that moment. We're in the process with our movement director, Brendan Matthew, finding creative solutions to tell the story. But the thing that I don't want people to walk away from with this, and it's kind of the direction we're going with, is for them to be like, oh, I really enjoyed when that chandelier crashed, or what happened with that? Like, I want people to be talking about the music, and I want people to be talking about the story, and I want people's hearts to be breaking when we get to the end of Act 2, and that be what people walk away with it, as opposed to the spectacle and the grandeur that comes with many of the other versions.
Aaron, this marks, I'm not sure how many times now, but you've worked at the old Rose and Crown a lot, haven't you?
Yes.
In some capacities.
Yes.
What brings you back to this space?
Well, the space is I think, one of the best spaces we have on the Fringe, in terms of space and design, so that's the main reason really. And it's the growing reputation that it's been getting, because it's a fairly new venue. and we've been, I suppose, operating for the past 3 years, I suppose, or thereabouts. So it's nice to be a part of that feeling of things getting better and growing and becoming better.
And now the home of professional debut of this show in the UK.
Indeed, yeah, that's a huge thing, I think, for us. Yeah, massively so.
So to sort of round this up then, if you were to sort of pitching directly to camera to tell audiences why they should be coming, what is it about this show that should get people coming in the doors?
It's a timeless love story. It will break your heart. It will make you smile. It will provide laughs. And it's good to see things that are different.
So, having made the show sound like something that is a must-see, how can people come to see it? How do they get tickets?
So one way, for those of you who are computer savvy, which I hope all of you are, as you're probably watching this online, you can go to the website www.allstarproductions.co.uk and book tickets online, or
The telephone number to call for bookings is 0843 289 2144.
And there you go. So, go to the website or pick up the phone.